Morning, folks. My name is Kurt Hitzemann, County Court Judge here in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. Purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you. I'll determine if there's probable cause for those charges. Probable cause simply means that it's more likely than not that a crime has occurred, and more likely than not that you're the person who has committed that crime. Of course, as you stand before me this morning, I presume that you're innocent of those charges. That presumption of innocence will stay with you through every stage of the proceedings, unless and until the State Attorney's Office can prove those allegations beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. We'll set your conditions of pretrial release this morning, that is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've had a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit of the warrant which led to your arrest. I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there'll be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be. If you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the PD to represent you this morning. You do have a right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. If you have not had a chance to make that call, please let me know. We'll make sure that that happens. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you do have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with me. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. And I need each and every one of you there at the jail to please raise your right hands and be sworn. Do all solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Very good. When you hear your name called, please step forward to the podium. Jacob Anspaugh. Morning, Jacob. What's your date of birth?
December 13th, 1999.
Jacob, you're here on a warrant that was signed by Judge Merritt. He found probable cause for 5 counts. Grand theft, statutory property, 3 counts of burglary of a conveyance, 1 count of burglary of a structure. Counsel, how are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Your Honor. Tim Hessinger, Mr. Anspaugh.
All right. And Jacob, I have an address for you on 35th Avenue North in St. Petersburg. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And counsel, what do you want to say?
Your Honor, I've represented Mr. Anspaugh in several other counties. Mr. Anspaugh, at a time, over a very short period of time, went to several counties and was flipping doors, getting into cars. And they found property, of course they took the property, and a couple times they took the cars. So I went to Osceola County, and on October 23rd, I resolved his cases there. He received a withhold of adjudication, 2 years of house arrest, followed by 2 years of probation on those charges. He was then transported over to Pasco County, where I had consolidated his east and west cases and resolved those cases there using his youthful offender disposition. And he received basically that same disposition of 2 plus 2. Before doing that, I contacted the Hernando County Sheriff's Office, the Pasco County Sheriff's Office, the Hernando County Clerk, and the Department of Juvenile Justice, and I had the Department of Juvenile Justice in the courtroom when I resolved the cases in Osceola. And I was told, after contacting every one of those agencies, that there was no other holds or anything else out there that would stop him from being released. I was being very careful because he had that YO we were using in Osceola. So the judge was under the firm belief that he'd be released that evening to his family and start his 2 years of community control for the 2 counties and live with his family in St. Petersburg. He's been in jail for a year next week now on those charges. So somehow these charges were not apparent to anybody, and even when I called after he was held on them, even the clerk's office here still did not even acknowledge that there were any such holds, and the sheriff had no information on it when I contacted them. So he's in the predicament now of having pled to all that stuff and now having these new charges here. They're the same type of charge, the door flipping stuff. There's one of them, I think, that was filed as armed. I've tried to look at the evidence as close as I could from the advisories that were filed in the juvenile cases, and from what I can see is he made an admission to being around or in the vicinity of his friends who were going through a Dodge Charger and ended up stealing a Dodge Charger, and it was in the same, and I can't even say it's in the same neighborhood or area, but in the same vicinity, and I don't know how big that vicinity is, of another car that was stolen the same night, and out of that car was stolen this firearm. There's no admission by the client to being involved in that, knowing of that. There's no prints, there's no nothing that I know other than tying him to that, other than his general admission that he'd committed burglaries that night with his friends. So I'm asking that you allow him to be released, to be on ROR, that he can go back and live with his family, start his community control or house arrest today, or tomorrow as he reports in. He's required to report in with 24 hours of release, as had been anticipated, and that will allow me to work out these charges with the state, and hopefully, I'm hoping I don't have to go back to Osceola to withdraw that plea because of the YO and do something that won't be fine.
Right. Well, this got signed on Wednesday last week. So
Yeah, I know.
I'm not surprised that you didn't know about it, and even at the clerk's office didn't know about it, because that obviously very late in the game that it got signed.
He's been in a year, and he's got his GED while he's in there. He's doing very well. He's got a very, very supportive family. I had like 10 people at each of those sentencing hearings. He's got a lot of support. He had relatives flying in from all over. He's got a very nice family.
Okay. Ms. Catavico, do you know anything about any of this?
I do. Only what Ms. Preston told me yesterday, which was about the same story. So I would say, Judge, at this point, I would leave it to your discretion on how you'd like to do it.
So he's, at the moment, he's on 2 years of community control, right?
Yes.
Okay. And as I understand what you're saying, took that because you figured that he was wrapped up in good.
It was because that YO is so, you have to basically say, you've never been sentenced as a YO before, so we didn't want to use it unless we had to. And so I don't know what we're going to do at this point. I don't know if these will be your cases or whose cases.
They won't. They don't entrust me with these difficult sorts of cases, being just a humble county court judge. However, we do have people here who can handle them, right, Casey?
Yes, we do.
So I'll go ahead and release him on his own recognizance on all 5 counts, given that story. He'll be back December 27th for arraignment. Of course, you can file in. And so what that means for you, Jacob, is apparently you've got probation that you're going to have to report to. You're going to be released today. Obviously, you're not going to fail to appear because that might be a violation of your community control. So stay in touch with your lawyer, who apparently is doing a very good job for you, and see if we can't get this issue here in Hernando County cleared up, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Appreciate it.
Looking at that case, I see another 4 felony cases with active warrants.
I'm sorry, what are you saying?
I see 4 other cases, felony cases with active warrants. I don't know why. I'm seeing that. There's a 17.
Do you have case numbers?
172526, 2728, and 29.
There are 5 case numbers.
No self-honest. There's no court date in yet. Did he get arrested recently on those?
Yesterday, on everything.
So that's one.
Yeah, it should be yesterday and everything should be here today.
Judge, when was his court date that you set for these currently?
The 27th?
December
12/27.
12/27?
Yeah. All right, hang on. Not long. At the jail, do you guys have these other warrants? All I have is 2530, and the system shows I've got 4 other open warrants for Jacob.
I only showed he was arrested on the 2530.
He was supposed to be arrested on everything yesterday.
He sure showed up. My guess is they're all signed Wednesday, right?
Yep.
Your Honor, do you want us to arrest him and get him before you today?
I sure do, because I want to get him out so that we can get going on this. Because what's going to happen if I just let him go right now is then you guys are going to go to turn him out and say, oh, wait, there's warrants. So
We'll take care of it.
If you can take care of that, and we've got a few on first appearance here, sooner would be better. Is it something we can get done before I'm done this morning?
We can try, but...
Okay, we'll try, and I'll come back at the end, and we'll see where you're at, all right?
Thank you. I'll stand by.
All right, very good. Okay. Thank you. Melissa Bartlett. Morning, Miss Bartlett. What's your date of birth?
8/17/73.
All right, Melissa, you're here on a warrant out of Pasco County. The judge or judges that signed the warrants found probable cause for violation of probation. There is a total bond of $11,000. I can't change the bond on an out-of-county warrant. So if you could post that bond, you can get out of jail here, go down to Pasco, find out when they want you in court. If you're unable to post the bond, we'll give Pasco 5 days to come and get you. It doesn't take 5 days with Pasco, but if for some strange reason you're still here in 5 days, they'll bring you back to see me, and I'll find out what the holdup is, all right?
Okay, can I ask a question?
Sure can.
My charges here is violation of probation. Is that a misdemeanor or a felony?
Your charge here?
Yeah.
I don't know. The charge in Pasco relates to a felony case.
Because I was on misdemeanor probation.
Oh, no.
You might have pled out. You might have pled out to a misdemeanor, but it was a felony case.
It's possession of paraphernalia and alcohol under the influence, so it looks like misdemeanors. But you're still on felony probation.
Right.
Because it's a felony case number.
Right. I'm with you. All right. Thank you, Melissa. Jacqueline Caruso. Morning, Ms. Caruso. What's your date of birth?
9/25/71.
Jacqueline, you're here in a warrant signed by Judge Merritt. He found probable cause for a violation of probation. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire a private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender,
I'm
please.
going to point you to the public defender. The bond on the warrant is no bond. I can't change that. I'm going to have you back to see Judge Merritt on the 12th of December. Public defender will come see you before then, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Tammy Jones. Morning, Ms. Jones. What's your date of birth?
29/82.
Tammy, the charge this morning is grand theft. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll point the PD. State, what can you tell me?
Most recent history, judges from 2011 pertaining to possession of drugs and paraphernalia. She's also got a worthless check from 2006 and a battery from 2001. Nothing super recent.
All right. And Tammy, I have an address for you on Norm Street in Hudson. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
For a couple of years.
Do you have a job these days?
No.
Okay. I'll set your bond at $1,000. I'm going to have you back in court on December 27th. If you get out, make sure you go see the public defender right away, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Shanita Nathan. Morning, Shanita. What's your date of birth?
12/27/78.
Shanita, you're here on a warrant that Judge Rupi signed. She found probable cause for 2 counts, felony petty theft and criminal use of personal ID. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
I'm probably going to hire a attorney, but I have a question.
Okay.
I just committed drug court with no problems, no violation, no nothing. I don't understand what when I got arrested, she said it was back in September.
Right.
And I have a job, and they told me, because yesterday I had a no-call, no-show because I was here. And I was wondering, can I get out on R&R or a lower bond?
Okay, that's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to figure out, Shanita.
Because I've been doing good for 2 years. I have not been here for 2 years, and I did drug court with Judge Merritt. For graduated with no bad urine, no nothing. And this is crazy. I don't understand what the problem is.
The problem is they think you stole something from Walmart on September 19th.
That's what I'm saying. I don't recall that.
Well, that's less than a stirring denial, I got to tell you, Shanita.
Don't respond to that, Shanita.
Just hang tight, girl. It's probable cause, like I explained to you at the start. I presume that you're innocent of the charges. That presumption is going to stay with you unless the state can prove these charges. So we're going to set you a bond. I'm going to talk to the state attorney here in a second, and we'll set you a reasonable bond. And then whatever happened, you want to talk to your lawyer about, not me, okay?
There's no way I can R&R?
That's not going to be an R&R, but we'll see. State?
She's got 2 prior petty thefts, one from 2014, one from 2016, an uttering a forged bill from 2014, and a false police report from 2000.
Did you see anything on there that would have gotten her into drug court?
Yes,
Okay.
she was in drug court.
Okay.
I don't know why that's not on the history, but
I graduated drug court.
Okay. Okay, very good. Shanita, I got an address for you on Campbell Drive in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
About 3 years.
Okay. And we never got through the, do you want private counsel or do you want the public defender?
I'm probably going to hire a public defender.
Okay. I'll appoint the public defender. And what are you doing for work these days?
I work at Burger King.
Okay. I'll set your bond at $500 on each count, so the total's $1,000. I'll have you back in court on December 27th. Make sure you go see the PD when you get out, all right?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Jamie Siciliano. Morning, Jamie. What's your date of birth?
12/29/78.
Jamie, the charge is burglary of a dwelling. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll point the PD. State.
Yes, Your Honor. Bear with me 1 second. She's got some extensive criminal history, but most recently in 2016, fraudulent use of identification information and forgery, dispositions of guilt, a driver has suspended possession of cocaine, introduction of contraband from 2014, petty theft from 2013, and then she's got stuff that goes back even further than that if you'd like to consider.
That's okay. And Jamie, where have you been staying lately?
Postcard?
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
No.
Leave the bond for the schedule, which is $5,000. I'll have you back in court on the 27th of December. If you get out, make sure you go see the public defender right away, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer King. Morning, Ms. King. What's your date of birth?
12/30/83.
Jennifer, there's 2 charges this morning, possession of methamphetamine and possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Am I allowed to get a public defender if I'm not from the state?
Yes.
I mean, if that's the case, then yes.
I'll appoint the PD. State what you
No
think.
criminal history.
Okay. And, all right. And Jennifer, I have that address in Gainesville, Georgia. Is that what you live? Where you live?
Yes, sir. I came down here last week to pick up my boyfriend and his friend to go to Thanksgiving, and I've literally been stranded here all week because I got stuck and got towed and it busted my radiator.
Okay.
So yesterday was the first day I was ever even able to drive the car. And my son and my 2 dogs are here with me, and he's 13 years old, and he's with my boyfriend and his friend over at where he don't even know. So I literally have been begging them to let me call and speak to him or like to be able to make a phone call to explain to my mom who's in Georgia watching my 5-year-old daughter. But I haven't even got to speak to anyone to explain anything. Like the phone doesn't call out. I can't get in touch with anybody. And my son doesn't even know like where he's at.
Okay. Can't your boyfriend contact those folks for you?
My boyfriend and I have just like basically made things official since I've been down here. He and I have known each other since we were kids, but I haven't introduced him to like my family or anything like that except for my son and my 2 dogs.
Okay. Well,
That was
that's
supposed to be done this week.
the answer, unfortunately, is that you get hold of him and have him make some phone calls for you. Do you have a job back there in Gainesville?
Yes, I do. I'm a single parent. I'm the only person who works doing cakes at Gary Quinn, and so. Like I said, I've been stranded since last Wednesday,
Okay.
and they've been waiting on me.
Okay. I'll set bond on the methamphetamine and 500 ROR on the paraphernalia, so your total is 500. Have you back in court on the 27th of December, all right?
Thank you. Is there any way to get an OR bond? Like, so, because my mom, everybody's out of town. Nobody can, I didn't know. I don't know how that works.
This is
I'm
it.
so sorry.
500 is as good as it's going to get.
Was she?
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Benny Albritton? Benny, what's your date of birth?
3/27/77.
All right, Benny, I had 2 charges this morning, possession of drug paraphernalia and false name to a law enforcement officer. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel, would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
Appoint the PD, state.
Judge Lee has some out-of-state history, most recently in Florida. He's got several obtaining drugs from physician by withholding information from 2011. I think there's at least 7 or 8 of those adjudications. And then he got a trafficking in illegal drugs from 2011, and trespassing in 2005, and then there's some stuff that goes back even further.
All right. And Benny, I got an address for you on Land O'Lakes Boulevard in Land O'Lakes. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
Is that a yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How long you been there?
Approximately, I've been going on 10 years.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
I'm currently disabled gunner.
Okay. I'll set your bond at 500 on each count. The total's 1,000. I'll have you back in court on the 20th of December. Make sure you go see the public defender if you get out, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. James Burrell.
Your Honor, the alleged victim in this case is in the courtroom this morning and would like to discuss having contact with you.
Okay. James, what's your date of birth?
11/30/1981.
Charge this morning is battery on a pregnant female being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for the charge. This is pursuant to a warrant that I signed. As to that charge, sir, you want to represent yourself? You want to hire private counsel? Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, state.
There's a criminal mischief from 2015 and a driving on suspended with a disposition of guilt, two-way communication device to facilitate a felony from 2011. Looks like there may have been some possession charges back then too. Obtaining property by means of a worthless check from 2010. I don't see anything violent except for one prior battery from 2001 with a loophole, Judge.
Okay. All right. And Tiffany, you want to come forward? Raise your right hand for me. Solemnly swear firm, tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth. State your
Yes.
name.
Tiffany Angiglio.
Tiffany, what do you want to tell me?
That I want peaceful contact with him.
Okay. And have you had an intake appointment at the state attorney's office yet?
No.
Okay. Do you have one set?
I tried calling and they didn't have the report or anything yet.
Okay.
They told me I had to wait a week.
Okay. How long have you known James here?
His whole life.
How long is the baby his?
Yes.
Okay. So how long have you two been together?
A little under 3 years.
Okay. Are you concerned that he's going to hurt you or harm you?
No. We're separated. We're living in separate houses.
Okay.
I removed myself from the situation with my children. I'm just asking for peaceful contact right now.
Okay. All right.
It was...
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead. I'm
It's just
concerned. I'm
something that
concerned,
shouldn't
Tiffany,
ever
because
happen.
I've read the report, all right, and I'm concerned. Okay. And I'll tell you what I'm inclined to do. If as a matter of fact, if you go up to the state attorney's office right now, they can give you some more information. There are some classes through the Dawn Center that I'd like you to take. If you take those, I almost certainly would restore contact, or the judge that this case will be in front of almost certainly would restore contact. But I'm not comfortable doing it at first appearance until I know you've taken those classes, all right?
I am going to counseling and we are working with DCF.
Okay. Well, there's domestic violence courses you can take through the Dawn Center, and I'd like you to do that first, all right? So it's going to be no contact for today. But if you get busy, you can, like I said, you can go up there right now and they'll give you the information you need to take the classes, and you can get going and get it done quite quickly so that you can restore contact, all right?
Okay.
All right? Very good.
Thank you.
And James, I have an address for you on Meredith Drive in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
And do you have a job these days?
Not right now. I'm a subcontractor. I got my own business.
Okay. All right. I'm going to set your bond at $2,500. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with Tiffany. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message, you don't contact her through any social media. You don't have a third person contact her. You don't go where she lives. You don't go where she works. You don't have any contact of any kind. Any way that you might imagine contacting her, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and we find out about it, your bond can be revoked and you can be held without bond until the charges are resolved. It means for the time being no contact even if she wants the contact, which she apparently does. So if you get a call from her, you should hang up. If you're out and about and see her, you should turn around and run the other way. You need to understand that she cannot drop the charges against you. She may speak to the state attorney's office and tell them that she wants to drop the charges, that she doesn't want to go forward, but that decision, whether or not to drop the charges, rests solely with the assistant state attorney who will be handling your case. So unless that person or the judge on your case tells you the charges are dropped, you should assume they are not dropped, and you should not have contact. Now, it sounds to me like she's going to try to do things to restore contact, but again, that's something that will happen in open court in front of a judge. So unless there's some judge telling you the contact has been restored, you must assume that it's not restored and you must not have contact. Are we crystal clear on no contact?
That's perfect.
Very good. I'm going to have you back in court on the 27th of December. If you get out, make sure you go see the public defender, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mark Cartwright? Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
Morning, May 20th, 81.
Mark, you're here on a warrant that was signed by Judge, looks like Toner. He found probable cause for 2 charges, grand theft and a burglary of a dwelling. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll appoint the PD. State what you tell me.
Sorry, Judge.
That's all right.
There is a driving on a suspended license with a disposition of guilt from last November, possession of paraphernalia from 2011, or resisting without violence from 2013, and that's all I see, Judge.
Okay. And Mark, I have an address for you on Dart Street in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Correct.
How long have you been there?
7 years?
All right. Do you have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I'm a tree climber for Panzer's Tree Service.
Okay. I'm going going to leave the bonds where Judge Toner set them. It's $1,000 on each count for a total of $2,000. We'll have you back in court on the 27th of December. Make sure you go see the public defender when you get out, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Cody Colburn. Morning, Cody. What's your date of birth?
7/27/91.
Cody, the charge this morning is possession of methamphetamine. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll appoint the PD.
No other history on it.
Cody, I have an address for you on Mineola Drive in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
26 years.
You have a job these days?
No, sir.
Okay. How long has it been since you worked?
4 months.
I'm going to set your bond at $500, so I'll have you back in court on the 27th of December. Make sure you go see the PD when you get out, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Brian Courtney?
Your Honor, Mr. Tippin advised me that Mr. Courtney is a key victim or witness in one of his cases and wanted to know if the court could appoint regional directly to him.
I don't even know if I can.
Yeah, we weren't sure either.
I'll say the words if that will
Okay.
kill her.
All right.
Morning, Brian. Date of birth?
12/17/1987.
All right. And Brian, you're currently serving a DOC sentence, right?
That is correct.
Okay. So you're here on a warrant signed by Judge Neal. He found probable cause for 4 counts, robbery with a deadly weapon, ag assault with a deadly weapon, ag battery, great bodily harm, and false imprisonment. As to those charges, Brian, you're going to hire private counsel, you need the public defender.
I need PD, but we have several people on the case, so there's a conflict with that office.
Yeah, they were just telling me that. So I'm going to appoint regional conflict counsel this morning. Hopefully that'll speed things along so that we get you conflict counsel.
Okay.
All right. Okay. And then I'm just going to leave the bonds per the warrant. Obviously, you couldn't bond out anyway. It's $50,000 on the robbery, $2,000, $5,000, and $5,000 respectively on the other cases. We'll have you back in court on the 27th of December. We'll get conflict counsel out to you as soon as we can, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Aaron Cesar. Morning, Aaron. What's your date of birth?
3/10/1994.
Aaron, you're here on a charge of felony domestic battery by strangulation. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll appoint the PD. State what you can tell me.
I just need a retail theft and or 2 retail thefts from out of state from 2014, Judge.
Okay. And then I've got an address for you, Aaron, on Arrowhead Avenue in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, correct.
How long you been there?
About 2 years now.
You have a job these days?
I do not. I just came back from Pennsylvania. I went up there for the holidays.
Okay. And Olivia lives with you at that address?
She does. I do have a different address I can go to.
Okay. That's good. All right, Aaron, I'm going to set your bond at $2,500. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with Olivia. Did you hear me explain no contact earlier?
Yes, correct.
And you understood that?
Yes.
Also, I'm going to hold you today up until 4 p.m. so that if she wanted to serve you with a civil injunction for protection against domestic violence, we'd know where to find you. If you get the civil injunction, it's doubly important that you not have contact because in that case, not only could your bond get revoked here, but you could get new charges for violating the injunction. As far as that address on Arrowhead Avenue is concerned, as long as she stays there, you'll have to go somewhere else. If you want to go by one time to collect your clothes, your toothbrush, whatever you need for wherever you plan to go, you can do that, but you must contact the sheriff's office first. They would meet you there with a deputy. You'll have a few minutes to grab your things and get going where you're going. I'll have you back in court on the 27th of December. Very important that you go see the public defender when you get out, all right?
Okay, but like you said, may I have a question?
Sure.
You said you're holding me until 4 o'clock. Does that mean I'm getting out at 4 o'clock?
Well, you can get out at 4 o'clock if you post a bond, but you're not getting out any time before 4. Well, you could. If she got in here right away this morning and got an injunction and it got served on you, then as soon as it was served and you were able to bond out, then you could go. If nothing has happened by 4 o'clock and you're able to bond out, at that point, then you can get out.
Okay, I've been trying to contact them and the phone won't call out.
Who would you like to call?
My mother.
And what is your mom's name?
Cynthia Chazar.
And what is Cynthia's phone number?
It is 484-358-8942.
All right, they'll let you make that phone call, all right?
Okay, thank you very much.
You bet. Fernando Serrano. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
September 28, 1983.
Fernando, the charge is felony driving on a suspended license. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself? You want to hire private counsel? Would you like a public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
I see you driving on a suspended license from 2011, possession of oxycodone from 2011. That's all I see. I'm sure somewhere there's another driving on suspended.
Oh, there's a dozen of them.
Huh?
There's a dozen.
Okay, I don't have a copy of the driving record.
Yeah, the driving record is spectacular.
The honor is the snowball effect. I mean, I've done paid every single time, and then
okay,
I gotta go back to court.
Fernando, the snowball effect is because you keep getting behind the wheel. Okay, that's
I
the
understand.
snowball. So stop right there.
But driving is a privilege, not
Fernando,
paid
don't.
for.
Nobody understands these issues better than me. This is my whole life work is trying to help people out of the jams they get into with their driver's licenses. So I've looked at a lot of driving records, and yours is spectacular. So that being said, I have an address for you on Whitlow Street in Newport Richey. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
On and off, about 10 years.
All right. You got a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I'm an electrician.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond at $2,000. I'll have you back in court on the 27th of December. Get somebody to give you a ride, all right?
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Jeremy Johnson. Morning, Jeremy. What's your date of birth?
Good morning. 2581.
Jeremy, you were here on a warrant that I signed. I found probable cause for a violation of probation. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself? You want to hire private counsel? Would you like the public defender?
Public defender, sir.
I'll appoint the PD. Bond on the warrant is no bond. I'm not going to change that. I'll have you back to see me on the 20th of December. Public defender is going to come see you before then, okay?
Yes, Your Honor. I have a question.
Go right ahead.
This is the first violation I've had. It was a monetary issue. Is there any way of being reinstated or being ROR'd so I can put some funds together for the 20th?
The monetary issue is that you failed to report in June and any time thereafter. So that's the issue. All the other issues follow that issue. You got to report it. Nobody gets violated just because they don't have money. So right now, probation's looking for 280 days in the county jail. So between now and the 20th of December, the public defender that I appointed is going to come speak to you, and you guys are going to come up with a plan to try to convince me to put you back on probation, okay? But you're going to stay where you're at until the 20th. Okay, and the only way to resolve it today is to tell me you're willing to take 9 months in the county jail, which I don't think you want to do.
No, sir.
Okay, very good. See you on the 20th. Christopher Pollock.
Yes.
Morning, Christopher. What's your date of birth?
1578.
Christopher, you're here on a warrant signed by Judge Merritt. He found probable cause for 1 count of petty theft. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
Is a trespass from 2016, a disorderly intox from 2007, and then an extensive criminal history going back even further than that if you'd like to hear it.
That's okay. Christopher, I got an address for you on Grant Street in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
About 2 years.
You have a job these days?
No.
I'll set your bond at the $500. Christopher, I'll have you back in court on December 20th. If you get out, make sure you go see the PD right away. Otherwise, PD will come see you at the jail, okay?
All right, what's my total bond? Just 500?
$500, right.
All right.
Devin Stilson. Morning, Devin. What's your date of birth?
11/5/94.
Devin, there's 3 charges this morning: burglary of a dwelling, grand theft, and dealing in stolen property. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire a private counsel. Would you like me to appoint a public defender?
Public defender.
Appoint the PD. State, what do you know about that?
The only thing I see, Judge, is a criminal possession of a weapon, which is a misdemeanor out of state from 2014. I don't see anything else.
And Devin, I've got an address for you on Montclair Drive in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
3 years.
You have a job these days?
I fix bicycles.
There you go. All right. On the bird dwelling, I'm going to set the bond at $2,000. On the grand theft at $500, and on the dealing at $1,000. That's a total of $3,500. I'll have you back on all those charges on the 27th of December. If you're able to get out, make sure you go see the public defender right away. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.